questions we asked after the game Saturday about Spencer and the toughness of Richardson and the receivers making big plays. We probably should have circled around the goal line and how well they held up against that D-line that you touted rightfully a week ago.
How well that what?
Your offensive line held up.
They did. We were, Gary, we were good, not great, but we were certainly better than the championship game. And that's one thing I mentioned after the game that we talked about as an offensive staff after that game, that that was our fault. That was my fault, and that was the offensive staff's fault, that we weren't better prepared for that. We had a plan, but we didn't give enough credit to how good they were up front, and so that was a mistake. And we said, let's try not to let that happen again, and we were better in this game against a good front. They're really difficult. In my opinion, they're difficult to handle in between the tackles. And so I was pleased with our improvement in that area.
What would it take for them to be great? Or do you even need them to be great?
Yeah, I mean, you'd like to. Part of the issue we have is that's not who we are. We're not, we don't get a lot of reps with what we call heavy formations, tight ends, wings, and the question I get from people and even at the house, why don't you do it? Why don't you put those people in and execute those plays? It takes time and takes practice. So good illustration is people talk all the time about when you're a shotgun team and you get in short yardage, why do you go in shotgun? You're already 5 yards back. To get 1 yard, you got to go 6. And that's true. But we don't practice taking snaps under the center. So there's a risk reward. Now, we worked hard in the spring, we worked hard in the summer, and we worked hard this year, and knock on wood, we've been good under the center. But there's been times that we've messed it up by jumping under the center in a crucial situation. So it's the same thing in a heavy personnel, like that's the world Baylor lives in. So for them, short yardage, goal line, the 4th and 1s and stuff, 4th and 2s, that's kind of the world they live in. I used to live in that world. Back when I was calling plays as a head coach, we had those type of tight ends and linemen. That was kind of carryover from Les Miles. So 1 or 2 yards didn't mean anything to me. I mean, that was just, we were good at it. So that's the difference. We don't live in that world, but what we've done is we've tried to allow enough time to get it to improve, that if we get in that situation, that sure, we'd much rather be under the center to get 1 yard than 6 yards deep.
You'll take good, considering they're still inexperienced at that point.
Yeah, no, that's right, and that's what I said. I was going to clarify what you said. I'm pleased with what we did. We still, I mean, I'd love for it to get into a short yardage situation like this and that, and just go for it all the time. But I also don't want my pride to take over who we are on offense. And there's give and take. You know, we can play fast. We can play catch up. We can move quick. So sometimes teams that aren't built like us can't do that. So there's give and take on both sides.
For more information, you can visit TulsaWorld.com.